He kinda exhales a bit. He seems a little sorrowful at something. Oh. Shou, I do need to compliment you. Your storytelling... No one would tell me a story like that.
It is technically accurate.
Yeah, well, hey. Usually an accurate story doesn't exist. There's always a bit of embellishing. Psycho used to embellish the stories he'd tell me.
Oh, you knew him?
Passingly. I know a lot of people that come through here. He was once a champion, after all.
He's
something on my deal list. He was a man who was always rather... He wasn't too happy with the state of things. He always did his best to improve. I'm rather curious what eventually pushed him over. Maybe it's my fault. He kind of scratches his own head.
Probably not. You've been stuck up here on this gate for however long, right?
Yeah, but sometimes words have a lot more effect than we realize.
What did you say to him?
He seems a bit hesitant now. Shit, I don't know if I want to say that again. I just told him a few stories.
Oh.
About my brother and my family.
Shou blinks a few times. If you think saying things to me will change what I'm going to do, you don't know me.
He kind of sighs a bit. You're right.
Couldn't have been that smart.
He didn't know about the frog god.
No, Hideo would be like, nah, I couldn't have been that smart. Like, I can understand having a desire to change things, change the way the world works, but just because you want to see the world change doesn't mean you should take the first bad offer that somebody shows to you.
Yeah, the Temple Swordsman kind of sighs. Yes, I think that's true.
Whoa. Shou looks over at Hideo. That was pretty You're just full of that, aren't you? Shakes her head.
Full of a lot.
I think he was impatient. He was always so capable of doing a lot of things. I'm sure a bit of ego started to build. Probably thought he could even reforge the country if he wanted, take on gods.
Could have bought some time if he moved here.
Yeah, he could have. He kind of thinks a bit. I'm hoping that I did the right thing, too. He kind of leans back on the stone a bit. I've held your time enough. If you want to talk again, please come by sometime soon, but... maybe if... even Psycho could be convinced of something. Oh, that worries me. Make sure your dad doesn't do anything stupid, okay?
Shou quietly nods and stands up. She steps off the rock and plops down in the cat litter, and looks over. I was gonna offer to duel you, but even now I can tell I wouldn't stand much of a chance. So
he kind of scratches his chin and smiles a little. You honor me. Come on now. He kind of blushes a little bit. I'm not that tough. Honestly, I just use the stairs to fight people.
No, I still have a long way to go till I fulfill that promise.
He kind of puts his hand up to his cheek. Oh, come on. Stop that.
She takes a step forward, so I'll be back when I learn a little bit more. Damn, I thought my time outside the She starts to, you notice her words have been, sort of slurring, and there's been some length between all of them. She trips over a cat and completely collapses, having not eaten for a long-ass time. The only member of the group that hadn't.
Yeah, no, Hideo's been snacking on grains. He's got a little bag that he picked up at the market.
Shou just lands and collapses 100% anemic just outside the cat litter.
Hey, Shou.
Hey, what's up?
Get up.
Oh. She slowly rises up. Yeah, gotta go meet with the god or whatever. Oh.
Here, wipe yourself off a little bit.
Yep. She does. How long's it been since I've been this hungry? It's like I'm a kid again.
Oh, for real? Here.
She looks over at the grains. Oh, okay. Thanks. Takes a handful and starts to munch. This is much better than eating my hair.
I agree.
You make your way up, crossing up the stairs and finally heading to the sacred ground itself. In this very spot, elevated above the ground using the holy magics of all the gods combined, they forged this hill from a plains, and at the center of it was the spot where the gods finally came to agreement of the new form of government, a form where there would be no infighting, a form where finally they would all come to agreement of the way to manage things. Inside the capital at Armistice Hill, you make your way to the Holy Palace itself, stepping on through the Holy Court as you continue forward. You two begin moving on. You see the fountains assembled before you. The elaborate tiles set before you as well. The many golems that have been assembled around. These are the stone memories of the first soldiers of Raoji, the ones that came together and binded themselves. There's about 12 of these different chambers assembled around the capital, holding the generals and soldiers of all the different lords and nobles that once fought for the gods, the very first. Those that gave their life and could not live eternal in the castle gates as the guardians here. And as you continue stepping across, you notice that ahead of you, sitting like right at the, if you want to keep moving up, you absolutely can. As you begin progressing, you notice a single rat sits on the floor staring at you. A rat in these grounds could only belong to one person.
Here we go.
It stares at you. And it begins to turn to follow, and then a fucking hawk grabs it and eats it.
Ooh.
It just swoops by, grabs the rat off the ground, and just like lands on a perch and just starts eating it.
Oh, yeah.
You look to the right, actually, from where the hawk flew, and you see an individual standing underneath the eternal tree which with the pact was signed. Gazing at his own sword, stands a god.
Oh no.
His feathery hair drifts down across his back. Fully across there he looks, as he just kind of stands. He's almost majestic. The eagle flies back, landing on his arm. It's all incredibly cinematic.
And visceral, actually.
Yeah. He speaks without turning in direction. I see you there, Shou and Hideo.
Hi. Raises a tentative hand. To whom, thinks of what Junia always says, to whom do I have the pleasure of addressing? The words feel alien on her lips.
I am the great god Jubei, the hawk god. He, turns again, his, mask on his face, the symbol of his godlyship, the mask that hides his two true features, a form so grand that it would indeed stun any who would look at him, but he has taken the form for your honors, the form of a mortal. He stands there. Yes, I simply wanted to speak to you.
Yeah, I mean, now that you're here, I guess, I've got a couple questions.
What do you mean, now that I'm here? I've always been standing here. I've been standing here since this morning.
Well, I mean, now that I'm here to speak to you, like,
yes,
on a person-to-deity basis.
Of course.
Why me?
He smiles. What do you mean? You're a great warrior, aren't you not?
He gives a knowing glare at the hawk.
Come on, what? You've won many duels. You're a great warrior.
Looks at Shou.
It does not matter the means of how you won the duel, you won them. Your Honor, your opponents faced you and you defeated them and then you won.
I didn't.
Isn't that correct?
I mean... But I won outside of the... Hey, Shou, can you give me a second? just real quick. I'll be right back.
Extremely slow thumbs up.
But you know that I won outside of the parameters of the duel. I cheated.
He looks at you, just kind of staring exactly at you. Have any of your opponents ever considered that? Cheating?
No, I'm a good cheater.
No such thing as cheating in war, Hideo.
But there is in duels, where rules are set and I break them.
He considers for a bit. That is a good point. However, I am not the Dingo God. I do not care about honor and such things as that. Outside of the character, one accompanies himself and treats their enemies after a battle. You have won the duels, and I consider you to be a powerful swordsman even if you do not see it yourself yet.
I would use a gun if I could.
Perfect. My champion uses a gun as well. Speaking of her, she should have left by now. He contemplates for a bit. That has something to do with... She kind of looks over at Shou. Her father.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's a little more important.
That is indeed more important, but I do appreciate your honesty, Hideo.
You've made it very difficult for me to go back to my old life, you understand.
Yes, I do. But I believe your new life will be full of new opportunities.
I trained for my old life.
And your new life is training you well. Sho Karage, please come closer. Do not hide behind the statue man.
She wanders back over. I was just trying to give you guys some space.
He kind of looks. Besides, Hideo, you are still living the same life. You are still alive. You are the same person.
He's sort of like doing the cutting neck motion, like.
You wish for me to kill you?
No.
I can do it and revive you once more if you truly wish to live a new life.
No.
Ah, I see. You are quite the conundrum, Hideo Fumikaze. He turns to Shou. Hello.
Hi.
I assume you have seen your father first, or seen your father's house?
Yeah, I saw what was left of it. Nice place, I guess. Kind of place we were...
Not really. The doors are broken down.
Understandable, that does drop the property value.
Yes, it does.
Similar to the experience that Shou had earlier, staring at the gate guardian and Hideo. Hideo, you stare at the hawk and Shou and think for a second, these two have a weirdly similar energy.
Tell me, Shou. What do you plan to do?
I'd say that I plan to go after him, but I wouldn't know where to start. It seems like it's tied up with all of this... Hold on. Reaches into her, cloak and pulls out the, Pulls out the vial of blood. This nonsense. So...
I believe the situation could be considered untied, considering they are moving.
Understandable, I hadn't considered that.
Yes. He steps forward and puts his hand forward, not actually grabbing it from waiting for you to deposit it in his hand.
She does so.
Interesting. So, this is black blood.
I assume so. It seemed to possess the properties of ink when we dealt with it last. And another man was... She thinks back to Tentomushi. What did he even do with that? It was like, he used it sort of like a smoke screen. Ink or smoke is the best comparison.
Turning blood into smoke? Some form of magician man. Or perhaps the blood's magic. A blessing. By the squid god.
Presumably.
Well. He again takes a moment to think. Then this means that there was blood found in the house?
Yeah, this was the only blood I found in the house, in fact, which is unusual considering my father's
Your father's condition?
Yeah.
Yes. He was infected by some form of curse, uncurable, am I correct?
Yes.
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 Yes. He once again stares at you. I would have you know that some of my finest champion and the guards of the temple have already gone. They go to seek out your father, and the ones he departed with.
Oh, so you're aware of who he left with?
Yes.
Can I?
Or at least, the other one is. The rat god, I mean. In case that was not obvious.
It was. I inferred through context clues.
He kind of stares directly at you a bit longer, and then once again he kind of looks, his hair blows, the hawk lands back on his shoulder again as he just kind of stares off in a direction. You kind of follow his eyes and you notice that he's looking at the large statue behind you of his greatest champion.
Who's this one?
Oh, that is a statue.
Who is the statue of?
That is my first champion. I am reminded of back when the Squid God first was killed. We were suddenly, his story time is interrupted as, stepping out from behind the walls, an individual kind of emerges storming out. Ha! Jubei! Jubei! Are you here? Steps by and then stops, and then suddenly the figure of the rat god stepping about a bit unceremoniously, which is honestly a bit like him from how every appearance you've seen of him or learned from his personality. He is a striking opposite of his hawk counterpart, who always looks majestic. He steps forward. Did you eat my rat? No. I did not eat your rat. The hawk on my shoulder ate the rat. I didn't... Shou! Hideo, welcome back!
Thanks.
Have you vanquished Psycho?
Exchanges look...
Yeah! Kind of give the halfway.
Well, I knew he was dead. I believe the topic of being vanquished by you is up for question, but if you say so, I'll believe my trusty champions.
I mean, our actions definitely led to him being dead.
I'll take that, quite honestly.
Yeah, we...
The hawk god nods his head. Yes. In the act of murder, it is usually the actions taken by the murderer which causes the death.
Deeply insightful.
Yes, very.
Yep, that's how that works.
The rat god kind of, yes. Well then, I wanted to speak to you inside, but, well then, Miss Shou, I'm so sorry for things to get so, well, troublesome while, you know, all of these, you're straight back from the capital. Have you even eaten? You look rather gaunt.
Yeah, I've had 3 or 4 handfuls of grain. I'm as fit as a... I feel awful.
Well, I believe you should steel yourself before this next mission. Perhaps grab some food before you hit the road, but you should most likely depart rather quickly. The hot god looks between the both of you. We are not quite sure when he departed, but we did catch sight of him, interrogating those from the road sentries, my own little subjects. Again, you see some rats just kind of scurry within his robes at their mention, and he looks at the both of you and then turns to Shou. You must understand that this is going to be rather personal, but it has come to my belief that your father has accepted the squid blessing.
Shou stops and thinks. Are you gonna send me after him?
Well, that was what I would contemplating doing. After all, the job is still the mission, and perhaps you can pull him back from the brink, or face him, or whatever is necessary. I know you, Shou, or at least I've seen what kind of person you are. I believe you're more than capable of doing this job. The hot god kind of again staring at you directly. This kind of oafish god, I guess would be a nice way to put it. Not really nice. still stares at you with his piercing gaze. He seems to see something deeper inside of you. I ask you again, Shokurage. The rat feels no concern with this, but can you do this?
She's gonna stop, she stops and thinks for a second. To tell you the truth, I don't know.
The Hawk God nods slightly. The rat's like, well, you're going to have to make... The Hawk God steps forward. He reaches down and grabs at your sword. This time, not being, too polite, he just simply pulls the sword out from your sheath with a sudden motion. It's so graceful, yet surprisingly fast. He holds the sword in his hand, and, you notice that he brings his finger up to the edge of the sword, and pressing very deep into his finger, he runs it down the blade. You would expect blood to be drawn, but again, this is no mortal man. As he runs it across the edge of the blade, a sword begins to glimmer slightly. And he just, kind of goes forward, taps your hilt slightly, or taps your sheath, and then kind of slides it back inside. The old motion just kind of leaves you standing there a bit. However, he looks up at you. Very well. I believe you will make the right decision, whenever the time comes. And whatever it may be. What?
She looks down at, like, this old-ass, old sword that she's carried for, like, I don't know how many years. Like, this has crossed multiple country lines. It's beaten to shit. She looks down at it, looks up, smiles, and just goes, thanks.
He nods his head. When you swing that blade, it shall pierce through anything, godly magic or man. You'll need it where you're going. To pierce the barrier, after all. Do be warned that there's very limited amount of magic in that, and it shall not last more than a few slices. I'd say you have 3 blows before that magic fades, and you must save 1 for the barrier. Rat kind of... You're stealing my thunder! Back off! The Rat God kind of moves forward, and Hawk God politely steps back. His champions have gone. They're pursuing right now. They have a leave of a few days, but... Well, his champions are quite swift, I will admit. They're heading to the Forbidden Forest. They seek something inside of there. He kind of stands... They seek something that could completely reform and restore the Squid God to his original form, to complete the resurrection.
Well, how do they get past the barrier?
She looks to Shou. Well, that would be with your father's blades, of course.
She looks down at the sword, kinda clicks her tongue. Right? Guess there isn't any time to waste then. Thank you for your... thanks back. Wise counsel and your... screws up entire face. Yeah, I'm out of pretty words, thank you.
Words lack a physical form to be pretty. And yet... do not worry. Your words will suffice. They tell me meaning, and that is all they need to do.
She nods again. Really insightful.
Yes, very insightful. The Rat God kind of steps off. Do hurry now. You should desire to beat the Hawks champions if you wish to have any chance of saving your own father.
Suppose so. She skitters forward and, looks back at, Hideo. Okay, you ready to leave again?
Yeah.
As soon as we got here.
I've had enough of the capital.
You step off, once again passing through these halls, and as you stare down, you see the entirety of the city ahead of you as you begin heading down to the stairs. It all reflects so beautifully, a sight you've only seen a few times, obviously, when you stuck up here. As you walk, the thoughts kind of stick in your head. Thoughts about your father, about the Squid God, and a bit about Psycho and all these affairs. Everything just kind of jumbles together. Your entire life for the past months just seems to sit in one question. And you ask yourself, what the hell are you going to do? That was the question on his mind, after all. He stands, overlooking a flower. He coughs a bit, dripping inklets of blood spilling out on his hand and then a bit onto the flowers, staining them both black. He stands, though, his form much more impressive, strong, well-trained, the peak form of the Jellyfish Swordsman. And yet, despite the woman's promises, this was no curse. And his disease had still stayed there, inside of his body, circulating. And yet, the squid's blessing gave him strength, allowed him to keep moving, allowed him enough power for at least one final mission. He had to do it. He couldn't let this sit. From what he saw, from what was shown to him, it changed his perspective, to say the least. Though, even now, he still wonders. Wonders about. And on cue, one of the people that drifts onto his brain starts coming back, coming out of this tall grass. Hey, swordsman! He kind of grumbles, stepping through the rocks, stepping back. His, constantly annoyed, shadowed eyes and just irritated persona as he just steps forward. Come on, the others are waiting, it's time to go. He stands up. I'm coming. He steps forward. The man, Mr. Gray, keeps a very careful watch over the swordsman as he goes. As the swordsman steps, he kind of keeps his distance a little. The swordsman once more kind of glancing at him as he passes. What's the matter, Gray? Don't trust me? Trustworthy people don't gotta say that. Fair enough, I guess. He, steps past, and then Gray, keeping up pace, kind of walks with him. You accepted rather quickly. I mean, that was the hope, wasn't it? That was Emmon's hope. I thought she was just gonna kill you. He, stops a bit. What? You think I would just stay quiet after what she showed me? Well, yeah, kinda. You're a sick old man. You lost all your fighting spirit by the sounds of it. He kinda steps through the grass. You insult me. He moves forward, and the two of them begin heading forward. Already within the Forbidden Woods, they head deeper in. The shifting forest of so many different biomes, different times, all kept together into one form. At the very center, the object they seeked was very close at hand. Though pursued, the Jellyfish Swordsman and Gray, two arms, two of the strongest of the Squid God's agents now, and also accompanied by 5 others. 5 others, the best of the best. They would complete their mission. Gray would pursue his own objective, Emmon would find her vengeance, and the Jellyfish Swordsman would see justice done not just for himself, for Raoji, but for his family who had been so unfortunately wronged.